Hi, I'm Izzy, and this is Dizzy Quilts and Sews. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things I love about both of my Juki sewing machines. So back in July, so a couple of weeks ago now, Michelle from Michelle Sews Again put out a video where she talked about being in the market for a new sewing machine and asking people to share what they love and didn't love about their current sewing machines, because she's really looking for reviews, opinions from real people who really use the machines. She also created a playlist and a hashtag that you can use to research a machine purchase. So hashtag sewing machine must-haves is the hashtag to look for here on YouTube. And it's going to basically create this amazing resource for anyone out there who's in the market for a new sewing machine. Now, it's super easy to look at a manufacturer's reviews and, Google a sewing machine and stuff. And yes, that's helpful. But to hear the thoughts and opinions of people who have been using the machines, who, are everyday sewists who have everyday issues and problems, is extremely helpful. So I thought it was a brilliant idea from Michelle and decided today I was gonna jump on the hashtag and share the things I love about both of my Juki machines. Now, I did purchase a Brother embroidery machine a couple of months ago. Well, in the spring, so it's more than a couple months ago now. But I've not really been able to use it a lot or to learn it. So I don't feel it would be fair to do a machine review at this point. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to spend more time learning it over the winter months, which is when I typically have more time to sew. So for now, I'm going to share my thoughts on my Juki DX7 and my Juki TL-2010Q, which is right outside the shot, but I'll bring it in when it's its turn. All right, so I purchased this DX7 about 18 months ago now, I think, after watching a few people purchase it, unbox it, give honest reviews of it. Now, I was already sold on the idea of getting another Juki just because I love my first one so much. My serger is a Juki. I'm a Juki girl. So next came the decision of which model to get, and I landed on the DX7 because of all the wonderful things I'd read about it, and the videos I watched. So the things I love about this, first of all, is all of these stitches. Now, I don't use very many stitches, but when I need one of them, I love that it's there and it's available. And I love that it tells you which foot to use and then which number, which you basically just use the keypad down here. There's also alphabet, so you can embroider like simple like monograms type of thing, which I think is really, really cool. I make quilts, so I have used the lettering to make quilt labels. Now that I have an embroidery machine, obviously, I'm probably going to use that for my quilt labels moving forward, but I love that it's there. Number 2 thing that I absolutely love is the fact that the bobbin is a drop-in bobbin, so super easy to remove and put back in, and really easy to see when I'm running low on bobbin thread, so that I have a fair chance of winning at bobbin chicken. I love the buttonhole maker. So it has this attachment when you want to make buttonholes. So you basically place your button in this thingy, this holder here. You put your You basically just put this as a foot on your machine. You plug this into here, the side of the machine. You press the button and it does the buttonholes for you. And I have to say, on light to medium weight fabric, it does amazing buttonholes. One thing I found is that you're supposed to put your fabric in between the actual foot and this little add-on thing, flap thing, and that has never worked for me. So what I do is I simply remove it, and it's really easy to do. I remove it, set it to the side, and then I simply attach this to my machine. It has never, ever failed me on light to medium weight fabric. Now, I did make a cardigan this week with rather thick cotton fleece, and it struggled. I needed to help it along, so I really needed to gently push on the foot for it to move. So I have a feeling that it would not be happy making buttonholes in like a coat, for example, if I were to use like thicker coating fabric. So like my stretch fleece, there were basically, because it has a button band, obviously I was making buttonholes, there were 4 thicknesses of fleece plus interfacing. So yeah, it had a hard time. So yeah, I may need to do either bound buttonholes on a coat or do them by hand, which is definitely something you can do. The fourth thing I love about my DX7 is automatic thread cutter. Now I had that on my other Juki, and I have to say that's a must-have for me. Yeah, I've gotten used to it now. I love that I can simply click the button and my thread is cut for me, and it is rather quick. Like I've seen other brands of machines where you press the button and it has to think about what it's doing. On the Jukis, the thread cutter is really, really quick. So that's the fourth thing I love. And the fifth thing I love about my machine, which is also a must-have for me, is the needle down feature. So when I stop sewing and I need to pivot or move things around, the needle stops in the down position. A lot of my entry-level machines before I got these did not have that. So when I stopped, I needed to very carefully turn the wheel so that the needle was in the down position before I can move things around. So that's definitely a must-have. And I know that most machines now have that feature. But yeah, that's definitely a must-have for me. So overall, I really love my DX7. I use it for all of my garment making. It has sewn through very thick material, very lightweight material. It doesn't eat flimsy fabric. I don't need to hold the thread before I start sewing. It's been a workhorse for me. I've made a lot of garments since getting this machine, and it hasn't let me down. It's a good one. All right, next up is my Juki TL-2010Q, which is the machine I use for quilting, almost exclusively for quilting. It is a straight stitch machine only, so it does forward and backwards on a straight line, and that is it. Now, the things I absolutely love about this machine and could never do without, for quilting that is this huge extension table. I love that I have, my goodness, I have like a foot of space on the left of the needle, so a quilt can rest on top of this. I can have an entire quilt block rest on top of this. So that is the number one thing about this machine. The extension table is huge. Number two thing I love about this machine is the amount of space I have to the right of the machine. And if you're a quilter, you'll understand why. A lot of quilt fits into this space for when I'm quilting the project. So I have quilted a 90-inch square bed-size quilt on this domestic machine and did not struggle all that much. I did struggle a little bit, but not all that much, thanks to all of the space I have over here. So that's the number two thing. Number three, it also has the automatic thread cutter over here, but I've also have it on the pedal so that if I'm pressing with my toes, the machine is stitching, but if I press with my heel, it cuts the thread, which is amazing because I don't even have to lift my hands off the project. And when you are walking foot quilting a quilt, so straight lines up and down your quilt, it's amazing. You get to the end of a row, heel down, cut the thread, rearrange, and start going again and again and again. Fabulous. The thread cutter obviously is a must-have no matter what the machine I have. This one also has the needle down, so when I stop sewing, the needle goes down. Now, another thing that I find amazing on this machine, especially when I'm free motion quilting, is speed control over here. So I have the little turtle at the bottom. So if I want to go very slow, it won't allow me to go any faster than this, even if I put my foot all the way down on the machine. If I bump it up a little bit, go mid-speed, and then I have the bunny at the top for top speed. So it goes really, really fast no matter what I do. I typically have it at the medium setting when I'm free motion quilting. I don't want to go too fast and then lose control. So midway is the perfect thing. I could not do without the speed control for a machine I use for quilting. That is a must-have for me. And then finally, the last thing I absolutely love about this machine and the features I probably would not want to do without is how easy it is to lower my feed dogs. So this little button or lever here, all I have to do is push it to the right. My feed dogs are gone. On my other Juki, I have to take out the casing, go underneath, push that button. This one, it's right here so that when I'm free motion quilting, I can lower my feed dogs really, really easy. And how easy the button, the reverse button is to get to. Again, I have the same button on my other Juki, but it's a smaller button and I have to make sure I'm hitting the right button. This thing, you can't miss it. It's huge. So I don't even have to be looking at my machine. I can keep my eye on my project, on my needle, and then just hit the reverse button. And I've never, ever missed the button. So those are definitely things I love about this machine and could not do without for a machine I use for quilting. Now, this machine here requires oiling very regularly. I would say every 8 hours or so, I need to oil this machine. And it has like 4 or 5 little holes that I have to get 1 or 2 drops in every 8 hours. It's not something I dislike about the machine, but it's something I have to remember to do. I don't quilt as much as I used to, but I still need to remember to oil it every so often, especially if I'm not using it, so that it doesn't get, so it doesn't jam up. The other thing is the bobbins for this machine. I got 5 of them when I bought it, and I've not been able to find additional bobbins for this machine anywhere. So they are, I don't know if I can find one. No, well, maybe I'll take this one out. So they are metal bobbins. There we go. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a little groove here, which allows you to wind it. And although I have been able to find similar ones on Amazon, the little groove is not the same, and it's not placed in the same way. It's not the same depth. So they don't work on this machine. So if you have a TL-2010Q and you've been able to find additional bobbins, please let me know where. It's not a huge deal because I only use this machine for quilting. So most of the time I have gray, very neutral Orifle thread on most of my bobbins. And that's, you know, I go through a few of them for a quilting project. And that's fine. But that's also the reason why I don't use this machine for garment sewing, is because I don't have enough bobbins. And I would constantly be unwinding and rewinding bobbins to get stuff done. And that is just not something I want to be doing. But those are really the only two little things I might complain about. Other than that, this thing, I've had it for 6 or 7 years now. And it is reliable. It is fast. The stitches are as beautiful today as they were when I opened the box. It is an amazing, amazing machine. All right, and that's it about my 2 Juki machines. Now, if you have any questions about either the DX7 or the TL-2010, please leave them in the comments below. I would be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please give the video a like on your way out if you liked it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.